Okay, hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier broadcasting from the center of your entertainment galaxy. Uh, we are back with another episode of Star Trek Adventures Aegis, and this will be a kind of slightly different episode thus far. We're going to take things a little slower and give the crew a little chance to breathe between missions here. But this is going to, I think, still be very good. An opportunity to see a bit more of the characters' day in the life sort of thing. Um, Before we get started, there's just a couple of announcements. First and foremost, as far as scheduling for this, we should be going pretty regularly with both Star Trek Adventures Aegis and Broken Sword. We had another bit of time off due to last minute weather and health shenanigans in the past week, but both should be coming up. I would say particularly after this Wednesday's Broken Sword adventure, for those getting more in the spooky season, I'd say stick around and I hope you enjoy what comes up next. But we'll see where all of that goes here. Um,
I
there's
don't like
also
that.
oh no you don't. Anyway, there's also one other announcement of import, and for that I turn it over to our own Dr. John Lambeth. Ben.
Yes, hello. I am going to be GMing a campaign of the Power Rangers RPG on the Bardic Inspiration Network Twitch, and yep, I will be the GM. It's called Power Rangers Solar City, and basically, for a quick pitch, think Power Rangers meets Stargate Atlantis. Is roughly the kind of vibe I'm going for. Yeah, so that will be Fridays, 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. like BST, British Summer Time, or GMT. So the same time as this runs, but on Fridays.
Yep.
Yeah, that's
So
it.
I would highly encourage you to check out the opportunity. Check it out if you have the time for it. Um, for those watching in the archive, I will drop a link for or for anyone that wants to catch up on that. I'd say go ahead, give Bardic Inspiration Network a follow, and if you're watching this just on the archive, even if you can't catch our shows live, there's also links to the to our Twitch here, so even if you can just drop us a follow as well, it'll let you know when the streams go live, and it just generally helps the channel out. Um, Gives me a sense of feedback. But yeah, otherwise, feel free to leave comments and let us know how we're going about things, and yeah, we'll go on with that. For anyone that wants to keep up to date on any announcements relevant to the channel, for those in the archive, these links will again be present for you, but otherwise, I'm just going to drop the one link for my Twitter profile. You can keep up to date on announcements with Broken Sword and Aegis this way. And then, of course, our archive is presently entirely on YouTube. I am considering branching out to some podcasting formats at present. More word on that soon. But yeah, I encourage you to give it a look at some point, and certainly to give Bardic Inspiration a look as well. But until then, it's time to get on with these sessions. So we are going to go ahead and start off with a log from our captain today. Panda, go ahead, take it away.
All right. Captain's log. Colonel Lillian Sharp, July 14th, 2154. The initial mission and further supplemental objectives of Terra Nova. The initial mission and further supplemental objectives of Terra Nova completed. The USS Aegis has finally left Terra Nova for better shores. The interim settlement between Suliban and humans is well underway. Though the tensions are still fresh on everybody's mind, both human and Suliban seem to be motivated to try to continue with life. I hope that with time that they can eventually rebuild into better bridges between them. In the meantime, due to the warp drive considerably damaged, the SS Republic has chosen to keep an eye that no further flashpoints occur. I've already been informed by its captain about never letting that Vulcan on his ship again, which is understandable. While the sudden surprises that awaited us at the colony came uh, While the sudden surprises that awaited us at the colony came to United Earth and his crew, uh, and this crew when we were at its weakest, I can't help but feel proud of the determination, the bravery, and the capabilities of my crew, especially the away team. Though I had some hesitation due to more militant training of the Andorian Imperial Guard, Lieutenant Shira proved to be quite the diplomat. Her actions in balancing the safety of her team while ensuring that no war-like gestures occurred would certainly need to be commended. Equally so, Lieutenant Commander Romanov proved skilled in smoothing things over in the Suliban ship, though given the disposition of the ship's captain, she still needs to work on being a chatterbox. While certainly there was controversy regarding our ship's doctor, I will admit that been a I will admit that I perhaps had been a little hard on him. His creative thinking in limited resources and wishing to find something that would be beneficial without outright being inhumane would be the sort of critical thinking Mako expects from their officers, and certainly needed here in the frontier. Our newest regional guide, Soral, has so far held up his end of the bargain, or at least shown a good initial impression, taking what he could, taking what what he would consider a primitive warp engine and bring it to such stable levels without disastrous results is certainly could prove useful for Starfleet and this ship in particular. I'm not going to trust him implicitly yet, as there's needs to be more assurance, that a rogue like such as Saral would remain on track. The Aegis is currently charting the Borminus Borminus Abyssal, a region of space with unusual subspace properties that produce some turbulence at warp. In addition to its scientific merits, Starfleet Intel has suggested that Tellarite space is around this zone. Given that the Aegis is a reconnaissance ship, it's best suited to this mission. Of course, with star charting comes with the constant hours in between of free time, which might be a little nice change of pace after the stress of Terra Nova. As if on cue, I've already received a policy proposal from Shira, which certainly needs a conversation. It also gives time for me to work on more on the mission I have considered, though it too requires my standing to have a bit more veterancy before I'm sure any of the Admiralty would even look at it. However, knowing myself, that will go that will only go so far before problems can arise on such a small ship, and having so many look up to you, it leaves little room on your own faults to be shown. I can admit there's been once or twice that I've considered, but one of the few luxuries of being in command is people can't say no when you offer to help. A Daedalus class ship always needs a bit of maintenance and tinkering, and that should keep me busy until I'm needed again. And that's the end of the log.
All right. And so we join with the Aegis on its out on patrol, surveying the region. You are presently moving just at impulse power, traversing the region. It's a relatively safer way to cover territory over this extended area. This is not to say that you cannot engage warp, but it is noted at least that the last probes to have crossed the region did so at lower warp, so warp 1 maybe 1.5 at the highest, and that was just the nature of the technology through here. This is a little further out for the surveyors, so in a sense you are one of the You're the first of the Earth vessels to properly come out this far. But yeah, with that, I think we should join at least one grouping of the crew. And speaking of, I guess, since it was alluded to in the log, Shira, were you looking to have that conversation sooner rather than later?
At the captain's convenience.
Okay. Well, I figure I could extend an offer if Sharp and Shira want to have that first scene here.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So we will move into the captain's ready room then. Uh, Sharp, it's been a relatively, I'd say it's been a relatively slow day. You've taken some time at the con, which Commander Patel has been only too gracious to accept. He is presently conducting sensor scans, exploring the area, and coordinating with the science team as they investigate the region. Although this is not necessarily his area of specialty, it is, however, at least something of interest, and he has always been eager to push the boundaries of knowledge, as it were. Uh, so, you suffice to say, you have a very enthusiastic officer at work right now.
Always good. Always good to have.
Yep. And
Star charting is one of the worst duties, worst missions, but it's so fucking boring. But good somebody actually enjoys it.
yeah. What would you just to set the scene a little bit? What would you say you're working on right now, if anything?
I'm. I think I'm working on right now is my own set of star charts, though ones that have already been has already been charted as the current moment. I'm trying to set up a path and logistics.
Consideration of a future mission,
Yeah.
I presume.
Yep.
Yeah. It is. I will at least say that with the work you're doing, it is a little bit. There are some difficulties, mainly because in the absence of some information, or like some immediately available information, you are partly working off memory here. So there are limits to what you would be able to access freely on your own, but the work is nonetheless proceeding as you start building that up. Uh, Amidst a point of deep concentration, you hear the door chime.
She lifts her eyes up from the chart, blinks a little bit. Yes.
The door opens, and Lieutenant Shira comes through.
You wanted to see me, sir?
Ah, Shira. She smiles. Sit down. Would you like anything to drink?
Yes, some nice ice water would be good.
She'll get up and pour some ice water from her craft.
For those that watch Broken Sword, I'm sure many of you feel the century later the smile of a Gorn on a Klingon vessel. Clean water.
She will gingerly but neatly fold the star charts, which are in paper, and put them away and set the glass down. You've certainly given me an interesting proposal, Lieutenant.
Yes. Well, I wanted just to help things. Haven't seen what happened on Terra Nova.
A ship or a defense fleet on every colony, a high port station for for land-based phaser defenses at minimum.
Yes.
It's all relatively sound, though. I do think if you want full encapsulation, to be more than 4.
Oh, yes. I think provision for torpedo launchers there would also be very useful.
I do have to ask, though, while it's certainly a lovely proposal, where do you think that Starfleet would have such logistics?
I'll admit I'm unfamiliar with Starfleet's logistical capabilities nor their fleet composition.
I can't give you that sort of detail, even if I did.
I didn't think you would, sir.
But I will say that we're certainly scrapping by and trying to play catch up. The Annex class project is part of trying to bring our fleet more up to a more respectable scale. Daedalus, as they are right now, are a little more than frigates compared to the other ships out there. I'm sure you can agree with that.
Yes, they are useful survey and recon vessels.
She nods. Not much for its firepower or stability on in a extended conflict.
Yeah, the for the number of crew the ship has on board, it has a worrying lack of firepower compared to, well, Andorian or Vulcan ships.
I will say that it's certainly a proposal that I am more than glad to give to the Admiralty, but it's more suited for a space empire that has its bearing and infrastructure figured out, and we're still a newborn organization here, newborn power, rather.
May I ask how many colony worlds outside of the Sol system does United Earth have?
I'm going to answer that in a moment, but if you can explain that, GM, I got to run to grab food from DoorDash really quick.
Oh,
Sure thing.
well, I have a meal delivery from the chef.
Yep. Alonso comes in at the most inopportune time.
Yeah, Space Stash has always really logistical problems as well.
Yes,
Yeah,
they'll...
We ordered it from Uber Eats, and it had to get all the way by warp.
Oh. You know, they... those denobulan wraps, they're long since cold, although a stasis thankfully helps out, but man, are they worth it.
I mean, the general invention of replicators has ruined the entire business model.
Yes. It is soon to be a thing of yesteryear, but just for the scene interrupt, we do have Alonso delivering the food, and his token is a bit large, don't you think?
It's a big chap, isn't he? Yeah.
Maximum
Yes,
over Alonso.
I think that's appropriate.
Yes.
How did you get through the door?
Oh.
I find my ways. Yeah.
No man shaped hole in the door.
The captain will smile. Thank you, Alonso.
I didn't make food for two.
That's all right. I've already eaten.
He just looks at the glass of water that you have. Whatever you say, boss.
You can go. Thank you.
I'm
She gives
sorry.
him like the firm sort of look of like, go.
Yep.
So what was the answer for the colonies? Sorry.
Okay, so the without forcing you to recite it, outside of Alpha Centauri, which has now uh, become independent thanks to Tellarite and later Vulcan backing, um, humanity has a small smattering of independent of colony worlds under its control. I'd say somewhere in the range of about a dozen at this point. You have some worlds that were previous, or rather systems that were previously uninhabited, such as Deneva, Vega Colony, Prantaris comes to mind, Altair 6, a few other planets like that. The one notable exception where there's a large human presence outside of the solar system on a shared star system would actually be Tau Ceti. It was discovered actually when the colony ship got there that there was an uninhabited world, but also another planet in system owned by a spacefaring species known as the Kefrayans, an insectoid bunch who that seems to be their homeworld. They were, however, they bore no objection towards humanity starting a colony on the uninhabited world. So
And then I
there's
imagine there's dozens more that we're not aware of yet.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
human spreads out all the fucking time.
Yep. There have been ever since Alpha Centauri was settled back in the early 2110s. There have been some, despite despite Earth's best efforts to keep relative control over the colonial process, and despite pressure from Vulcan to really hammer that away, some independent worlds have been known to sprout up every so often. Depending on who could get a hold of a warp drive, basically.
And that's the colonies that we're aware of, she says.
Shira's just sitting back, mouth kind of agape at thinking, you just... Anyone with the warp just is going out there and... Okay.
We have our own personal freedoms, and
Oh,
certainly
yes, that's fine. But I mean, this is a dangerous galaxy.
She nods. Freedom doesn't come without its risks, and certainly as a species, we're very much a diasporic, nomadic species at that.
So I'm learning. Okay. Well, I mean, I suppose, but I mean, the official projects like Terra Nova. I mean, that's official. They had Mako units. That why on earth is just only 200 people at this, and then give them nothing more than a squad of Makos?
Habitability, trust. To some extent, given how close it is, there's assurances that Starfleet can get there in time in case of any sort of threat, if there is some sort of threat. You also have to keep in mind, Lieutenant, is that Earth and its local territories outside of perhaps Vulcan being the closest, we're quite in the galactic frontier. There isn't much desire to be around here until we showed up. And that gives its own defense in some sense.
Well, I suppose it's not exactly the hub of galaxy, or even this local arm, but I'm just... If Orion slavers do start stumbling upon on Earth space and find lots of undefended colonies, you're going to have a lot less colonies.
That's why the Franklin is there and a number of other defense ships. And there has been a few times where Orions have considered that, and they were pushed back in force.
We barely got to Terra Nova in time to stop this. The Suliban had already taken over the colony, and the Tendarans were only a couple of hours behind us.
We're very much a burgeoning empire. I am sure you are very comfortable with how well established the Andorians are, but I am sure they too had a period of fragility, and certainly the lack of naval support that they do now.
When we learned how dangerous it was, we built everything up. So I suppose you're in
Which we're doing
the
right
build-up
now.
stage for that.
We do have our own few ships of the line. We do have the Marshall classes, but they're certainly more of monitors and pocket warships than anything else. Their best warp speed is 2.5. And they have proven to stand toe-to-toe to even the largest of Orion ships. So I'm sure that they can pose a considerable threat outside of perhaps the Andorians and Vulcans. But those are limited to the more of the core worlds than anything else. Especially after the Zindi attack.
Yeah, so that understandable. You want to make sure more established colonies are best protected.
And it isn't like we aren't being more considerate of the hostility of the galaxy out there. It's why I'm here, she smiles.
That's true, sir.
With hope, the display we showed in Terra Nova and the likelihood of how compromised Tandarn intelligence is, we will have a good charade that'll keep us defended long enough until we have the NX classes produce in sizable numbers, or at the very least have another enough other smaller ships to have a more established defense fleet. But in the meantime, this proposal is really solid. I will tell you that. I think they certainly would be up for such a policy, though I'm sure some Starfleet Admiralty would think it's a bit too militaristic. We're not trying to establish as much as we are trying to be a power. We're not an empire.
Very true, but this is, I think, all the items in my proposal are fairly defensive in nature.
I think some of the Admiralty might think otherwise. They might think it's a bit aggressive. I disagree, but time will hopefully share light into what you're trying to display here. I also have to admit, despite my power here, I'm still a very fresh captain, lieutenant. While certainly I can propose these things, it would be like... She thinks for a moment. It would be like you proposing a fleet deployment policy to Shran. How likely would he consider that proposal?
It's a fair point, sir. I mean, I'm sure you'd give it a look over, but yeah.
Approach me with a more sensible defense plan. Give it 6 months to a year, so we have a few missions under our belt. That can give me enough prestige amongst the captain's club and even to some extent the Admiralty, that I can propose such things and at least get a first look. At least cross the their adjutant's look.
Yes. could we at least just propose just one thing? Terra Nova was completely cut off with no communications because of its atmosphere. Could we just
Well,
make sure
that
that
was
colony has a shuttle with a proper communication set so they can at least send something up and give a warning?
that interference was actually a jamming field from the Suliban ship.
Ah,
But
then it probably would have been blown up then.
that in standing, they now have a Suliban ship with cloaking technology. I think they can, if such a immediacy is needed, they can reach us.
Okay, well, I suppose that's right.
You're doing very well, Lieutenant. I even sent word for a commendation if such things that can happen, whether it's to the end from the Andorians or Earth. I'm very proud of your accomplishments in Terra Nova.
Thank you, sir.
You ever think about?
I suspect if any commendation will be common, it'll be from Earth, sir.
You ever think about actually joining Starfleet instead of remaining with the Imperial Guard?
I like Starfleet, and I like working alongside humans, but it's too warm here, sir.
You'll get used to it, Lieutenant. But I say I gotta wait a bit before I can poach you. Anything else?
Oh no, that's all, sir.
I've already made a few recommendations regarding your proposal. She hands back a tablet. Look into it. And I try to give the best explanations I can within my clearance. But I like to see other proposals. Whatever ideas you have, keep them up.
Thank you, sir. Do that.
She's not dismissed.
I'll
So I can eat my
finish.
food.
I'll finish my last bit of ice water and then leave.
Alright. So yeah, Shira, you can move on from here, feeling at least that maybe something will come of the objective. Although Starfleet's and Mako's just the general means that Earth has at its disposal may put some limitation on that. Sharp, I imagine it's back to the star charts after some consideration.
First is getting your food, and then yes, back to the star charts.
Gotcha. Yeah. Alonso has given you something nice and meat heavy. I dare say I'm gonna go out on a limb and guess it was some sort of pasta and sauce themed type dish.
Oh yes, and it's very nicely set up on the plate. It is top tier. He knows his stuff.
Yeah.
Probably a few very expensive stuff that would be in space has managed to show up in the quartermaster's food closet
Yep.
for some reason. But you know, all for the boss.
You are very happy that you managed to poach that crew, that bit of crew from the Franklin before you left.
Yep.
Okay. So let's run around elsewhere on the ship then for a moment. Let's see. I know some other people had already approached me as pertains to scenes. Oh, by the way, momentum pool I think would be gone, but I am not taking threat for this session, so you have that assurance at least. Anyway, I recall that some people have other scenes that they wish to do, and I have a good idea of where we'd like to start. But just to make sure that I'm hearing from everyone, or anyone that's had ideas since we last spoke, who would like to volunteer scenes if they'd like some, either with another player or an NPC?
Well, I was going to talk to Soral about some of his ideas for improving speed and stuff like that, and I believe the captain had wanted me to do that. I'm trying to remember, I think a brief conversation like that
Yes.
occurred. Okay.
We're trying to fine tune and increase the warp capability a little bit.
Within safety, Starfleet safety parameters.
Yep, without like enough improvement without pissing off Vulcan.
Right. So at some point, I'll just send the captain a quick message, from engineering. She'll shut off the rock and roll to send a message from her office. And, just that she's going to meet with Soral on that stuff. And she'll send Soral a request for a meeting.
She'll send a message back as so long as he doesn't blow up our engines, I don't care. Go ahead.
Safety first, always. Always in space. It's unforgiving.
Okay. So the Aegis is cruising along, and we'll go ahead and check on other scenes here in a minute. But first, let's go ahead and run with that. Romanov, would you be calling Soral to your location? Would you be going to meet with him? I guess if you were going somewhere, where would it be?
Well, she might have been, since things are kind of quiet, she might have been, doing whatever the crew does. Maybe if there's a crew soccer game in in a cargo hold or whatever. She's enjoying the fact that we're not in crisis mode. So she'll leave it up to Soral to call the location. If he wants to meet in her office, he can. If he wants to meet somewhere else, that's fine as well.
Okay. Well then, Felix, where would you like to have the working discussion?
I think Soral is actually in engineering when you call.
Okay. Then that's she's in the engineer's office.
Okay. So, yeah, we'll set the scene then, and I'll set it. Okay, so we have it just like this. Soral, you have spent some time as at an interim rank of specialist, pending more formal discussion of your rank. You have yeah, you're not really partial to you don't care so much about the systems and social constructs here. You're just interested in the work and exploratory opportunities. Um, so bouncing between departments as you are, the what happens next? Oh, there, my brain started working again. Spectacular. You've been getting acquainted with the warp engine aboard the Aegis. It is it's an achievement, certainly, or there's something to be said for Earth engineering. Compared to what you might have heard about the NX program, or at least with what limited technical specs you might have been able to access, um, either from your time aboard the ship or from any time before where you might have come across it for some reason. The engine room is very slightly compressed, or that is to say, the reactor itself is a little more squat or compressed compared to what the NX would be. It's not quite as powerful as the previous engine room, although um, this engine has already been somewhat modified over the launch Daedalus specifications. Most of those ships, from what records you would have, are generally only capable of maxing out at around warp 3.5, but there's already signs some upgrades have come into play here and pushed it up to what is on paper more of a warp 4.5 engine. It's, I think, managed warp 4 it's recently been able to manage warp 4 with a bit of shaking and whatnot. But yeah, it's an impressive mix of you know solid design and a little bit of improvisation that the team is steadily working towards. So going through the process of familiarizing yourself, you actually get rather the intercom plays, um, and you hear Commander Romanov's voice requesting that you drop by the engineering office.
As I imagine Thrall kind of sitting basically more or less outside, also in engineering, because he's going through the data from the Republic.
Mhm.
And so very well, and it's like literally there like 20 seconds later because he was already there.
Yep.
So you wanted to see me?
Yeah, you want some coffee? She's in, one of the. It looks like there's a soccer ball and a chair nearby, like she was somewhere else and decided to come in here. And there's some interesting things in this office. Symbols you would recognize as a Vulcan, including like symbols for Vulcan mysticism, the Kolinar, and some older stuff that you've seen in archaeological digs and really ancient. A couple pictures of some really ancient Vulcan sites, as well as you usually hear occasionally hear rock and roll in here or older Earth music. You want some coffee or something else or tea? I have some Vulcan tea if you wish.
Anything but, to be honest.
Okay, great. Oh, the coffee's never bad around here. She pours you a cup and pushes
Yeah,
over.
I'm still trying to figure out what counts as coffee here. It's
Uh,
one of those Earth habits that's surprisingly easy to pick up.
it is. It really, caffeine is a beautiful thing, especially for people who do what we do, right? So, yeah, so she pushes over a coffee to you. So the captain and I were talking before all those events on Terra Nova, and we did want to hear some of your proposals for improving engines. Obviously, we have to bear in mind Starfleet safety protocols, and I know, kind of having glanced at your ship, that well, safety is not always something on the forefront of your mind, so you do have to shift your thinking there. It's not just you here, but I was impressed with what you pulled off on the Republic. Irregardless of how the Republic might have, reacted to that, you got the Republic there, which helped diffuse the situation. So, congratulations on that.
I just shrug at the accusation, and it's like I was very frank about the risks.
Well, we were in a very bad situation, so you know when things like that go bad, you sometimes have to take risks. The risk versus reward. You know, old.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So she'll bring up engineering specifications for the ship on the displays, and I'd love to hear your concepts, and then I'll propose them to the captain. And I do want you to do the Starfleet safety training for engineers, just so you're familiar with those protocols. But that's something you can chew through real fast, I suspect.
Yeah, I'm still familiarizing myself with your warp cores.
Well, that's
I'm
on a rotation, so that you can see the different departments that operate down here. So you'll be pretty comfortable. I don't know. It seems like you're picking stuff up pretty fast. So
Oh, don't worry about me. I'm comfortable everywhere.
okay. What kind of thoughts did you have for? I think mostly what she's interested is safely, or as safely as possible, having options to improve speed.
Well, for since ever I've been officially on board, so to speak, I've been poring over the data from the Republic to see what can be salvaged from that, and I'm not too sure that any of the modifications get really in line with with Starfleet safety guidelines.
Fair enough. Then I could just keep you on a rotation, and then, as you see, as you have ideas, we'll propose them to the skipper.
I mean, always. When you want to increase the output of an engine, like what do? You either put something better in it, you increase the efficiency, or you increase the burn rate, for lack of better term. And all of these require technologies that just go far beyond poor reactor technology. You need better energy conduits. You need better energy fields to restrict the reaction. Are the reactors in this time already run with dilithium?
Yes, although at least aboard Earth starships, you would know that there are some places or some species that don't actually use the conventional dilithium-mediated antimatter reaction. Instead, they just basically use containment fields where you can see matter and antimatter basically swirling together in something kind of chaotic. It's much less efficient, but for dilithium-poor worlds, it's the only option.
We could look for a different dilithium matrix. Different ways to mix matter and antimatter. But I don't know, I can't quite put my finger on it, but I feel like with this warp core design, it's reaching its limits.
Yeah, probably, although I think energy conduits might be a good place to start, because that might be something we can upgrade in the field and manufacture here, and that way at least the system can withstand more energy. That increases safety, so that should be something that we could possibly pull off here in the field. Because that looks like a safety upgrade, yet it gives us better capacity to transfer energy to the warp, nacelles. What are your thoughts on that?
He kind of leans back and looks to the ceiling. I mean, the basic idea that I employed on the Republic is sound, and I've been trying to figure out if it can be minimalized to reduce the strain on the energy systems.
What if those energy systems were reinforced slowly to where they could handle better?
The problem is not necessarily the increased flow of energy, it's the variation of energy density that flows through them. See, and kind of just like, I assume there's like a screen somewhere.
Yeah, just a couple screens.
And just like pulls up like the respective schematics. And I pulled the matter-antimatter reaction to increase the higher median energy output, which works, but the dampening fields are straining, not only with the energy maximum, but also with the variation speed necessary. And we need some better energy controllers for the dampening fields.
Yeah,
their reaction time needs to be increased for it to be done relatively safely, at least 20% to adhere to your regulations. I would guess 50% probably for your captain to be happy.
Yeah, if you want to start working on that on the side, and then I'll start figuring out what we could fabricate, and certainly that would be an argument of we're just increasing safety aboard the ship, as was demonstrated in our last crisis. And I'll write something up that Starfleet will be happy with, you know. So if you want to play around with that, I think working outside in to the engines is the way to go. Reinforce all those systems first, then look at what we can do inside the engine room itself. Your thoughts?
Yeah, that's good a start as any, I suppose.
You notice on the table behind her, there's like a high school picture. It looks like Alpha Centauri, possibly. And it shows what looks like a school picture, but most of the professors are Vulcans, and so are some of the students.
I leave it up to you how you notice it. But you might notice that he's probably avoiding looking at any of the Vulcan stuff, really.
Yeah, she'll swing around in her chair. I sense, and that you are uncomfortable with Vulcan culture.
It's not necessarily uncomfortable. It's just that's why I left.
Ah, okay. Do you still have family on Vulcan?
Unless their deaths haven't been reported to me, yes, very much.
Okay. I mean, it's not uncommon. I went to she gestures to the picture. I went to a Vulcan-run school on Alpha Centauri. So I've definitely, most people in Starfleet only have the idea of Vulcan culture as it's presented to Earth diplomatically and in Starfleet. They're not aware of, all the colonies and slight variations in groups and individuals who might not necessarily follow, where Vulcan is at right now. So just so you're aware of that, sometimes people have a limited understanding.
I'm not sure what you're trying to say.
Meaning, I understand that there are a lot of Vulcans like you out there in the frontier. And I interacted with a lot of them. My family ran, my family up until about 8 or 9 years ago, we ran, a repair company that serviced boomers and ships that were coming into Alpha Centauri. That's how I got my start in engineering. So I'm aware, I guess.
Well, I can assure you that the Vulcan High Command would appreciate it if none of the people like me would be out there.
Oh yeah, no, I know that. I definitely am aware of that. That's the political situation on Vulcan right now for sure. So, but I guess if it sets you at ease, I'm more have interacted with people on the edge runners of Vulcan society, than I have the, primary political, ruling group of Vulcan itself. They probably wouldn't have approved of me in a lot of regards. I'm sure some of them would spit out their Vulcan tea if they knew certain things about me.
Oh, I can assure you that Vulcans approve of almost no one.
Yeah, pretty much. I'm aware of that. Well, that's it. I just wanted to say, go ahead, start playing around with that stuff. Don't feel rushed. If we have to do something on the fly in a bad situation, then we'll call that, propose it to the captain when it comes up. But I like the fact that you're trying to work within safety procedures.
Well,
So
it's not like I have much choice here, do I?
that's true. That's very true. Everybody has to work under those parameters. So. Well, great. Then, in between getting familiar and going through your rotations, play around with that stuff, and then just forward it to me, and I'll, comment on it and forward it to the boss.
Yeah, as soon as I find out anything, you're the first to know.
And I'm glad to have you on.
I'm glad to be here, I think.
And I guess with that, yeah, the absent a formal dismissal, there's maybe the few awkward moments of people sitting around just waiting for the nonverbal cue. Maybe one more sip of coffee from Soral, which just for
Oh,
fluff.
she picks up the soccer ball and says, "Thanks for meeting with me. I really appreciate it."
That's no problem. And he leaves. Then just an idea strikes him, and you just see him sticking his head back into the door. Do you
Yeah.
think I could have some dilithium to play around with?
Is there any GM? Is there any safety issue with that, or
I mean,
is there any control on that I would be violating Starfleet regulations by giving a little chunk?
I mean, I obviously mean scientifically play around with, not like
Oh,
literally,
right,
but I know what you mean.
yeah.
Just kick a chunk of dilithium down the hallway.
Oh, it's like that's what we have the soccer balls for.
They are filled with dilithium.
I
We're
mean,
filled with dilithium. That's safe. Is there any safety regulation against giving him a small chunk to play with?
and at a certain threshold, there might be a problem with it, but you could make allowances. This does fall under your prerogative as lieutenant commander.
Then I'll
Absent enough to basically power his or like to run his shuttle for a long amount of time, or rather to regulate the warp reaction on that. If it's anything smaller than that, then chances are you could probably do something on your authority.
Is this for your ship? Do you need supplies for your shuttle, or is this for an experimentation?
Oh no, my ship is fine, and I don't know if it would even take that particular dilithium. I have some ideas I wanted to run through it.
That's fine. I'll go ahead and approve it. I'll forward that to the skipper, and just make sure you're doing anything in a research lab, and you've got a couple people with you for safety, and log every step, so to speak, right?
Oh, absolutely.
We live in a huge bureaucracy. You got to cover your ass with paperwork around here. I'll eventually show you how to do that.
Understood.
We're also on a very small ship, and I will
Yes.
tell you right now, the captain will absolutely shoot you, Sir.
And he follow all of these, except maybe they always need to be people around. Because I basically immediately I probably have some science lab that I have access to, and
I mean, technically there is one on your shuttle, or it's a multi-purpose room.
Yeah,
but there is an engineering lab for you as well here.
Or an engineering lab, or like some kind of lab. They basically want to set up not an entire miniature warp reactor, but like a miniature model where I can try to get the dilithium to affect the matter-antimatter reaction differently, and maybe get some positive results with that.
Okay, again, I'll assign you one of the engineering labs, and you've got to follow safety. Let me know when you're doing this. And I do want some other people there with you. It's always good to have more than one eyes. There's an old saying when you're in the weapons room, one person always has their eyes on the weapons, right? It's a good theory to pass into engineering as well. So I'll put that in the write-up, and I'll forward it to the boss, okay? It has my approval.
Sure.
Okay. Anyway, I got a soccer game to go to, so Cargo 4. It's we're taking on some of the ops people. We're gonna take them out.
Well, good luck to you. Soral has no idea what you're talking about.
So, okay, well.
I can't wait to blow myself up.
Well, at least if it's an engineering room out of character, it's probably more designed for
Yeah.
that. So I'll forward all this to the boss.
Yeah.
You know,
These
and
numbers of matter antimatter are really so.
yeah.
There's approval, but it falls through an addendum of please do not blow up my ship.
I mean, again, I cannot stress enough. Is Soral reckless? Yes. Suicidal? No.
Yeah.
Forward that stuff to you on from a data pad on my way to car 4. And that's our scene.
Okay. So, as Romanov heads off in order to find the small impromptu, set up the small impromptu cargo game with, I'm sure, properly requisitioned lifting and moving equipment in order to reconfigure the bay precisely how she likes it.
Absolutely. It's sort of like the way Brazilians play soccer in smaller smaller fields. So
Yep. Yep.
that's her parameter for that.
I gotcha. Okay, so as that's going on, let's open it up here a little bit more. I guess first, I believe the one person to not have a scene today so far, Doc, is there anyone that you wanted a chance to talk to in terms of the players, or if not, perhaps an NPC, or any ideas you had?
Doctor?
And you may be muted there, Ben.
Yes, sorry, I am muted and I sorry, got distracted for a second there.
You're
Can
fine.
you run that again?
I was just asking if you, since we hadn't given Dr. Lambeth the scene just yet, I was seeing if there was a scene you wanted to have with a player. If not, if there was anything you wanted specifically with an NPC.
Yeah, I haven't really got any thoughts on that. I'm kind of good.
Okay, well, in that case, there will be an interlude here in a minute that something that I think if you are good for a scene now, I will go ahead and pull it on you right now then, just so that we can keep some balance here for everyone. Um, but anyway, that moment comes up. I guess first to check, would you be good to go for a scene?
Yeah.
Okay. So then we set things up in sickbay. It's been, just for some perspective, it's been maybe, I think a little over a week since the events at Terra Nova and the subsequent chewing out by Colonel Sharp. Um, would you say that Danny's gotten out much, or has the doctor been, uh, would you say he's been more standoffish? How would you say, how's he taken everything in stride, would you say?
Yeah, I think he's probably recommitted himself to his work a lot more, spending a lot more time in sick bay and kind of trying to almost sort of make up for his errors in judgment, kind of by taking on the role of the sensible doctor and kind of just doing lots of work.
I gotcha. Well, there's certainly no shortage of work to do at this point. Although, and it does tend mostly to be minor affairs. Since you've come back from Terra Nova, there was, of course, the continued supplemental treatments for Mr. Soral's sundry burns and cuts, trying to make sure some more of that had been properly healed. There's also, of course, the occasional bugs and other minor workplace-related injuries. And then, of course, there is Mr. Crichton, who is walking in, and you hear at first, uh, Doctor, I don't suppose you happen to have an antihistamine of some sort?
Yes, I do. What's the problem?
You turn to look at him. The man's hands, eyes, and face have generally puffed up. Like he,
Okay, yep, that looks like a problem.
I think that I, I think I might have gotten into something, Mr. Alonso's that is a little more exotic and doesn't quite agree with me. Hold on. I, but something is a little bit wrong with my mouth, though.
Yeah, I'm gathering that. All right. Well, why don't you take a seat? I'll give you a quick check over, and then you can have those antihistamines.
Oh boy. Creighton sits down on the nearest bio bed. Uh, so let's see. I think I will ask you for the first proper roll of the session. Just give me a reason and medicine here. We'll call this a difficulty 1 roll, and if you have like a triage type focus, then that would definitely apply here.
I've got emergency medicine, but presumably that doesn't apply.
Well, I guess at the rate the his tongue is swelling, then that would probably work. Any other focuses you'd want to pitch?
Just wait a couple more minutes and then it applies.
I mean, if I got trauma surgery, if we're gonna get
let's hope it doesn't get to
drastic
that
measures, but I think I'll skip the focus.
Okay, fair enough. So just difficulty 1, reason and medicine roll there, and that is
And that's a 1.
That is 1 success there rolled. So you meet the difficulty. Yes, you can in fact verify that. With that, I'm going to say he's going to need a very strong antihistamine. It also occurs to you he's going to need a cocktail with anti-nausea meds and antacids because as a digestive thing that he's working with and allergies, 1, this will help it get into his system easier. 2, he's going to have some pretty severe stomach issues in a bit, so that would definitely be helpful. That there's, well, definitely signs he's reacting to something.
Yeah, okay. He'll start assembling his cocktail, I guess. Right, well, it's not looking too good, to be honest. I mean, obviously I can help you, but we're just gonna get some antihistamines in you quickly, and also a bunch of other stuff in you quickly, and then hopefully you should be better at some point.
Did I not the special, Doctor?
I didn't catch that. 1 nod for yes, 1 shake of your head for no, I guess. Are you okay with me giving you all this stuff? Do you understand what I'm saying?
His very puffy and red face at this point nods vigorously.
Right, great, good. I can do that then. Open wide. He hands out drugs.
Spectacular. The best way to administer at this point, the antacids he can try to swallow himself with which a very swollen hand grabs a glass of water for it. The strong antihistamine though, you have a hypo to administer. Unless you just want to hand him the hypo spray.
Yeah, let's give him the hyper spray as well, and just go do everything a bit more by the book, and
Gotcha.
yeah, go with the standard recommended stuff.
All right. So with a quick, simple bit of administration, you wait a few minutes. I actually say there's probably a bit of an extended time where it's waiting around. It's close to let's say 15 minutes, but the combination of medicines complement each other in such a way that it helps it act a bit faster. Um, the swelling on his tongue has come down quite a bit already, although his other extremities are a little more puffed up still. I should not have ordered the special today.
What was the special, and who did you order it from?
I got it from the officer's mess, same as always. I guess there's just I think that it was it was some sort of very strange looking, I'd say, some sort of meat and vegetable dish, possibly with the rice. There was some sauce going on. It was a very busy dish, but it looked so attractive, and it was I'm always out for trying new things.
Alright, do you have any known allergies I should know about? Or,
Well,
um,
I didn't know about anything before.
alright, well, let's try and figure out what exactly you're allergic to. I can have a look and have a chat with the chef and see if there's any common allergens that might be a problem for you.
Oh,
But this is the first time something like this has happened?
oh, certainly, certainly.
Hmm.
I've been in the service for a couple of years now and made it through the academy. I even trained. I trained up a bit eating those Mako MREs, and I must say, I my stomach is generally quite iron. That's a weird
Yeah,
phrase. I'm sorry.
I don't think it was your stomach that had the problem. Um, but I don't really know. So I'm going to, yeah, just yeah, wait for swelling to go down and things like that. Stay calm. Um, take some extra medication if you need it. I'll write you a prescription and get that sorted. And yeah, if you want, I can go and try and have a chat with the chef and see what's up with that. Do you have anything else you need to discuss?
I don't think so. I don't believe I'm due for a checkup for at least another several months. But I appreciate it and happy to assist, sir, he says, saluting with a somewhat still inflated hand.
Right. Yeah, good to see you as well. And actually, you're welcome to just stay here for a bit if you don't feel comfortable walking around with a hand that large.
Uh, maybe if I could just stay here. My shift still starts in a few hours. I'm on beta shift today, so um, if I could just wait here, then maybe I'll be in a better state by then.
Yeah, all right. I'll pop back. I'll make sure I'm back within a couple hours then before your shift, and I can see about um if you're not if you're still feeling like this, I can get you some. I can sign something, and you can take the day off, have some medical leave, or whatever you call it here.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you, Doctor.
Yep, not a problem.
Oh, with that, he's just going to idly sit for a moment before deciding, like very tentatively kicking up his legs and just lying back on the bio bed. This is the life. Yeah. Oh.
So you can try to find a Lotso? Because I'm willing to play a Lotso. Sure, why not?
Yeah, I'm happy to go with that. Don't know if we want to swap over to something else in the meantime, but
Oh,
otherwise I can just.
we can certainly do the follow up there, but we can space it out with another scene here. So at this point, actually, let's open it up for anybody that has ideas of scenes they would like to do, I'm going to ask that all of you give me a single D20 roll as our little house rule here. When it comes to Star Trek Adventures, I like to ask everybody to just drop a dice roll, and because this is Star Trek Adventures, the lower rolls are actually favored for a scene first. So we'll see how the order goes there.
It's good that I blew that 20 on initiative.
Yep, better that than a complication. Okay, so it looks like we have 4 of the 5 rolls here. Romanov, did you have it? Oh, there we go. All right. Well, that being the case, Shira, looks like you are first up in the roll with an 8, followed by a scene with Colonel Sharp, then Dr. Lambeth, then Romanov, and Saral capping us off at a 20. So, Shira, what would you like to be doing right now?
I would like to have invited Aleska to have a bit of a sparring match with Shira.
I gotcha. So, a little bit later in the day, we will say that
Just
you.
football.
Yeah, yeah. No, sure. If Aleska's coming out from this, she's going to have already worked up a bit of a sweat, so she's warmed up for this, I guess.
How did the game go?
Oh, that's a good question. Give me a let's call this fitness and security.
Okay.
Ops versus engineers.
Ops versus engineers, man.
I'm gonna say the ops put up a pretty methodical go, so let's. Oh,
Fitness, and what was the other one?
um, I'm going to call this fitness and security. I am going to roll the same and to reflect the like the team dynamic. What I'm going to do is I am going to roll 3 dice from a set of like basically lower ranked officer templates. So let's.
Come on, your Reds.
Now I'm only rolling 2 dice, right?
Correct.
Okay.
You can always. You don't have any momentum on the board right now. You can always give the GM threat, which I will remind you I have not taken for the session.
The other players would love it if I took some threat.
Please do. Please take threat.
Okay, well then I'll take 1 threat then.
All right, taking a point of threat, and you may roll a 3rd die here.
Okay, I'm rolling 3 dice, no focus. Here we go. Ops versus engineering. We planned things out.
Oh man, you with despite their best attempt to put up some sort of resistance with a single success, you led the team to a victory with 3 successes over them. That's odd. It listed it as command instead of security. Oh well, I will count the rolls anyway. Romanov, do you want to add any flavor to how you think the game went?
It was probably a really tight game operation. These guys know how to work together, but we've probably been practicing a little bit in engineering. But I'll tell ops their drinks are on me the next time they're inside the
port.
crew. Yeah, exactly. Drinks on me at a later point. And of course we thank them for playing and shake their hands and all that stuff. So
Yeah. Good sportsmanship all around. That's leading by example there. I will say among them was Chief Fernier, the ship's quartermaster.
Fernier, good game, sir.
God damn, I can't wait till we get to an open field. Then maybe we'll be able to place a little more of a challenge that way.
Yeah, playing it Brazilian style inside an indoor field, that's tough, man. Roldonado used to do that stuff when he was a kid.
He looks quizzically for a moment, thinking back to his references. I must admit, I don't follow some of the. I'm less familiar with the history of the sport.
He was an old pre-eugenics war soccer player. Really good player. Born in the indoor fields, and then he got outdoors. He played even better.
Oh, man, the one time the augment submitted a team, that was the worst.
Yeah.
Oh,
Well,
great.
I'll see you for drinks then, and you bring your crew, and they're on me.
Yeah.
Just set up a time, and let's definitely play again. And I think we're trying to convince security to put a team together, but I don't know. They haven't gotten back to me yet. But
Good luck trying to get those Makos in here.
oh, they ought to play some soccer. You know it. You know it.
But yeah, sure enough, the the intercom goes off, and it's just a request from Lieutenant Shira to forward from Romanov.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, Leska. I was wondering if you'd like to join me in the training room for a bit of a sparring match.
Sure, I want to pitch you something anyway to pass on to security and the Makos. So yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah, all right. Coming up.
Yep. So you make your way from the section of the ship with a cargo bay. I believe. Trying to remember. Oh yeah. So cargo bay would have taken you from near the engineering hull, specifically like the lower decks, and probably deck 14 for the auxiliary cargo bay that you were in. Um, where it's harder for prying eyes to necessarily get a look at an off-the-books soccer game.
Right, right.
But yeah, you make your way back through back up a few decks, crossing through the access corridors on deck 9, and start making your way up to the main crew quarters. A central turbo lift in the forward section of the ship, the forward sphere in the conical hull. For those watching, obviously a Daedalus class has the large spherical section at its bow, a narrow corridor of about 2 decks that stretches back into an engineering hull that is more of a cylindrical type shape. But stretching back, moving up a few decks to the crew areas, you do find the gymnasium, which is it has some weightlifting equipment, it has some running equipment, and there's also some mats that are more open for more sort of free form work. In some cases, people do elect to lift weights there, making the most use of the space as possible. In other cases, however, it's the space is spent for, or the space is applied to, like, say, stretching, other gymnastics, that sort of thing. This is one of the larger rooms, and certainly probably one of the largest, like, crew compartments purely. So, space on a Daedalus class vessel is always at a premium. But yeah, Aleska, when you do make your way into the room, you find Commander Romanov is waiting at one of the mats.
As a quick aside, do you mind if the captain joins in on this whole thing in a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay.
We'll start it off with just Aleska and
Yeah.
Can't refuse a captain.
I mean, you can, just not very healthy.
Okay.
Get out, captain. This might be your ship, but it's not your gym.
So, let's see. Aleska, from the soccer game, I presume you weren't necessarily coming in like full uniform.
No, she's in some shorts and she's got the Starfleet T-shirt that says Aegis on it, and probably blue or white or whatever the color would be in this era.
Yeah.
And she's got a soccer ball in her hand. So she did walk up from the decks with the soccer ball in her hand. So she's not particularly hiding that there might have been something going on, but she would have taken a route to encounter the least amount of people. She doesn't want to ruffle anybody's feathers with the soccer games.
Clandestine football matches happening in the back rooms.
Football matches, exactly.
Yep.
So she comes in and looks at you and goes, "Hey, one other thing I want to run by you is Ops and Engineering have been playing some Earth soccer games. Pass it on to security and the Makos. Maybe they want to play too."
What is this soccer?
Well, it's a game where you have two goals. You have two goal areas at each end of the field, and the objective is to make goals. You can check it on ship systems. The rules are pretty easy. You use your feet, not your hands, so it's not like other Earth games. But it's a good.
Is it a ball game? She'll point to the ball you're holding.
Yeah, this is a soccer ball, and she'll show it.
Oh, okay.
So.
So you just have to kick the ball to a goal.
Yeah, I'll send you.
While the opposing team stop it.
I'll send you a bunch of files on that stuff tonight, and you can check it out. And trust me, the Makos probably know about it. So.
I'm generally more used to sports which take place on ice skates.
Yeah, Andorian hockey. I watch it. It's badass.
There's a lot of blood on the ice afterwards.
Earth hockey is the same way, and teeth too.
Good. Excellent. But I should try to watch some Earth hockey.
Yeah, I'll send you both. I've got both in files, so I'll forward them to you. She steps out on the mat, starts stretching out.
Yeah. Shira, what? Out of curiosity, what sort of workout attire are you going with here? Or are you in?
Probably wearing sports top, tank top kind of thing, and combat fatigues. Just fairly comfortable and well ventilated, shall we say, for because it's warm and gym is gonna mean lots of sweating.
Yep. Yeah, it will.
She's clearly been here already working out for a while.
Yeah.
So what'd you have in mind? I've already up, obviously, playing a soccer game, so I'm ready to go. Where's your thought?
Just a bit of a bit of a sparring match. You said you did some, was it Vulcan martial arts?
Yes, I'm a practitioner of she'd pronounce it correctly, but
yeah. Oh, yeah. I've never had the opportunity to spar against someone who's using that style.
It's I went to a Vulcan run high school.
I'm so sorry.
Well, no, it was actually a really good experience. Anybody who's out there in the frontier who's Vulcan is kind of different from Vulcans we're used to meeting. Soral might be a little farther down outside that field, so to speak, but they're a little different. Those are anybody who's in the frontier is working on an Earth colony is a little farther away from Vulcan.
I suppose that that would make sense. They'd keep the more uniquely minded people away from their warships.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Yeah, that's definitely the case.
Yeah, I've only really seen typical Vulcans in action.
I met atypical before I met typical, so
that sounds like you got a lot better breadth of their culture.
The current culture is very conservative. There's a lot of stuff they don't talk about or acknowledge.
I think in human parlance, it would be that they have a rod of titanium up their rear.
Oh yeah, definitely. Reinforced with field. So
The two of you have thoroughly limbered up, shaken out, and are approaching the mat now, or are at least ready to do so.
okay.
We can make this some casual fighting dialogue.
Little fighting, yeah. So we'll just, let's try not to hurt each other, but
Absolutely.
have
We got
fun.
Yeah, exactly. I'll show you what I can. Okay, obviously I'm not considered a master, and I'm not like train, and my particular master I'm not to violate that with. But anything you pick sparring with me is open game.
Sounds good.
Okay.
So should we roll initiative or?
I will let you work out amongst yourselves who wants to take the first move. We're among friends here, after all.
I would suspect Sasmana has a defensive perspective on things, and probably uses any particular aggressive move as like a moment of time given to a defender.
Yeah,
So,
I'd agree with that, and I think Eula's more than happy to take the initiative and go forth and try to grab and throw Alaska to the deck.
okay.
All right.
Unless you try to reverse that when it comes in.
Okay, so this will be a contested roll-off. Daring and security. Obviously, Aleska, your martial arts focus comes into play. Shira, do you have a focus that you would want to
I have
place?
a focus in hand-to-hand combat.
All right, then that will apply here. Is anybody buying additional dice? As a reminder, there is no momentum on the board.
I'm not gonna.
Right.
I'm not gonna
Didn't
go. I'm not
didn't
gonna
we
go
get
hard
momentum from the
straight
football
away.
game we won?
Oh, that is
Yeah, we don't need more threat. We don't need more threat.
that is a
I
perfectly fair
misread
point,
it.
Felix. I had only conceived of it as fluff, but I will allow that to. I'll allow you to take momentum for it. Who would like to be designated momentum officer today?
I think Shira did a good time. Did right the first.
Oh, I'm being volunteered. Okay, yes,
Yep.
I'll do that.
You've been promoted.
Hey.
You get additional responsibilities.
I'm now momentum officer.
Craig's not
Yay.
happy when he doesn't have responsibilities.
All right. So go ahead and you have momentum in your pool. You may spend additional dice if you wish to.
Not this time. Not this time. I'm gonna start off easy and see how it goes.
All right.
So what's the hand-to-hand combat roll thing?
Once again, that is daring and security.
Daring and security. Okay. It's a good start.
4 successes. Romanov, give me a daring and security and answer.
There we go. Oh man.
Romanov scores 2 successes, but once again, Shira has scored 4 successes there. With that double crit, you do at least earn 2 momentum. But yeah, Romanov, you attempt to go for the initial. Your first attempt thought would be to go for a set of rolls in order to dodge the initial blows. Shira very rapidly closes the distance with you. Your initial roll is successful to back off, but she very quickly changes course, and before you can evade or counterstrike in any meaningful way, she manages to catch up with you. Now, Shira, I believe that you were saying that you wish to either you're going for a grapple or shove rather.
Yeah, just trying to knock Alaska onto the ground.
Okay, so I think that as a reminder, when it comes to Star Trek Adventures, there are options for different types of melee combat, which I've gone ahead and shown to people on the screen here. But melee combat is, as always, generally a fitness and security type move. And once that role's been decided, the character has options in terms of what they wish to do. So in this case, the character forces their opponent away. The target is moved out of reach to any other point within close range. In addition to the rolls, normal unarmed, you can roll normal unarmed strike damage, but it does not inflict any damage. The damage dice are only rolled to see if the knockdown effect is triggered. So those are the important parts of the roll here. Shira, if you want to roll just to see if you scored a knockdown on Romanov, then you can do that.
Sure. What do I roll for that?
You just roll the damage for unarmed strike.
Unarmed strike. Ah, yes, there it is. Okay.
Yep. And we just don't count any of the damage, but we do count effects, and that roll does have one. It was two twos, a one, a couple of zeros, and one effect. The effect, because it's an unarmed strike, once again, just means that in this case, Romanov is knocked to the floor, knocked prone, and is forced to stand up with a minor action here. So yeah, Aleska, Shira caught you very quickly and made the made that distance or made up for any distance very quickly. Threw you to the edge of the mat. She said she was starting off easy here, but this was definitely a lightning quick sort of strike.
Yeah, no, she's impressed with what Shira. She knew Shira was pretty good. So her thought bubble is her Vulcan master would not have been impressed by that, and that she hasn't been training hard enough. But she's not going to say anything. Nice, Shira. Nice.
As the two of you ready your stances, the door to the bay opens, and another person walks in. You may pay attention to it if you wish, but otherwise, you can roll another. You can roll the next set of the round, as people are just coming and going for the purposes of working out here.
Yeah, one thing Shira would notice is she knows how to take a fall, and get up quickly. So yeah, you definitely looking at somebody who's had, interesting training. So
yeah. So with all that said, Romanov, the turn does go to you since Shira took the first move. You may take the initiative and make the next attack.
Sounds good. Okay.
All right. So that is another daring and security roll with 3 successes from Romanov. Shira, you move to contest with 2 successes. Okay. Romanov, describe to me what your counterattack looks like.
Well, she moves off to the side of Shira and sort of reaches up under her head, her other hand's on the arm, and she just extends and moves her head body weight and throws her to the ground. A knockdown, essentially.
Okay. So kind of I will treat more of these throw type things again as a shove move. So nobody's inflicting damage; they're just going for the knockdowns here. So Shira, your Romanov answers with a quick assault of her own that you are not completely able to gain leverage over. Romanov does earn another momentum in the process. But Romanov, go ahead and roll me damage for that.
Okay.
Once again, since we are treating this as a shove, it will only determine whether Shira is knocked down. And there are 2 effects there, so there is a knockdown in the process.
Double knockdown.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's more like something like Aikijitsu. She went a little harder this time. And it seems a little hard for Vulcan, but, or it has that aspect within it. But there you go.
So, Shira, has this injured your pride in any meaningful way, or is this just more what you were hoping to see to start with?
She'll look up, and she's smiling.
She'll help
Ah,
you.
good.
She'll help you out.
Ah, good. A challenge.
Well, good to see that my officers have some free time on their hands.
Oh, Captain.
Captain.
Tension.
She just has a soft smile on her face. There's a towel wrapped around her neck as she walks in. She's wearing a tank top and gym pants. Huh? Don't mind me. Just
Okay.
taking my own time. Unless
So-
you have one more they can throw in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Over at Shira,
Yep.
Shira called this thing, so.
Yeah. A look as if to say, does the winner or the loser have to fight the captain?
She is pretty goddamn fit. Not like hulking or anything like that, but certainly there is a nice physique on her. Very well muscled.
Her background is Space Marine.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, of course.
Oh.
Alaska's fitness 10, so, however that translates. She's in pretty good shape.
Okay. So for the next bit of walloping here, I think the initiative would go back to Shira. So let's really set the scene for everyone here. How do you adjust your stances, or are you reconsidering tactics in any way? No?
This time, I think I'm gonna try to go for a grapple and kind of restrain Alaska.
Gotcha.
Alaska's going defensive, lowering her center of gravity a bit, and, keeping her footing solid. One thing you notice is she's always kind of sensing the floor with her feet. So,
So, Alaska lowers herself in readiness for the oncoming assault. Shira, you prepare yourself for the grapple, readying the grip and necessary speed and tactics. And a beat passes, and you set off with one more set of contested daring and security rolls.
Not so good.
Shira lunges forward with the 2 successes, Romanov with the 1. So once again, let's see. Romanov, however, you attempt to tweak the tactics or attempt the roll. You find that the coordination is just not there, as once again, Shira is able to round very quickly, or close the distance very fast and make the connection, earning back
Good.
1 more momentum in the process. And
she's good. Very good. So she'll nod from the grapple and go, "Very good, Shira. Very good."
yeah, let me just check one thing for reference here. For those watching and listening here, when a melee check that involves a grapple succeeds, the character grabs their opponent. This requires the character to have an empty hand, which of course, sparring you do. There is now a grappled complication on the target, which will prevent them from taking any other actions other than trying to break free. A difficulty 2 fitness and security roll, then attacking the grapple character, which increases in difficulty by 1. The grappling character gains 1 bonus momentum on all melee attacks against the grappled character, and the complication is automatically removed when the grappling character chooses or when they move out of reach. So, yeah, at the moment, Eula, you have her pretty firmly in your grasp right now. Would you be just aiming to hold her in place on it, while standing? Are you bringing her to the ground and going down with her to keep her restrained, or how would you play that?
Gently trying to force her down onto the ground.
Gotcha. So, one very slight leg sweep reduces it like lowers her a bit further. Obviously, unless you're still capable of acting, but it's just furthering the tactical advantage that Shira has.
Fair enough, and it's fitness to security to break the hold, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, she swept me. We're going down. She's got me in a grapple. She's going to use that momentum as she's dropping to try to break the grapple, sort of turn it around.
I gotcha. Are you trying to? Were you thinking of applying momentum to try and break out?
No, this isn't a situation necessarily. We're just having fun. So,
Fair
she's learned something about Andorian hand-to-hand combat, which is definitely aggressive and fast. So, she's probably never worked with. She's probably never been on a sparring, on the training pad with an Andorian. So
certainly not against an Imperial Guardsman. And try as you might to use that momentum to your advantage, it seems as though Shira is just one step ahead of you. With only one success on the fitness and security roll, you are not able to leverage this enough in order to break the hold that she has on you.
Yeah, she's flashing back to training with her master. He would regularly put her in holds like this, and she's thinking, I've been lazy. But she'll just go, nice hold, Shira. Nice.
Thanks.
Do you concede, Romanov?
Oh, yeah, she'll tap, because this is all fun, and she's learning, something about Andorian hand-to-hand, so...
As soon as Alaska taps, Eula will release from the grapple.
Okay.
So...
the captain's been doing hand weights and just stretching, getting yourself ready.
Yep. You see the two combatants move aside.
You okay with Alaska? Didn't hurt you, right?
Oh no, I'm fine. I used to get my ass kicked by Vulcan martial artists, so that's how I was trained. So this is all in fun, so to speak.
You learn from a good. You always learn from a good ass kicking.
Exactly.
All right, Lieutenant. I know we're a difference in rank, but don't go easy on me. She'll hop up, get on the mat. She will raise both hands in a open palm, but forward sort of stance. That what sort of aliens have you fought, Shira?
There's Orions, a few Nauticans, Rogue Andorians, a couple of bouts with. Oh, and of course there was that Sulabon.
Yeah.
Shira, I'm going to say run an insight and security check here.
Insight and security, okay. I'm guessing none of my focuses apply on this. No, they're not. They're simply not.
No. We'll call this just a difficulty 1, however.
And
2 successes, so that'll earn you a bonus momentum here. Sharp, what would you have to say about the style?
You've heard it, it's a very Klingon stance.
Klingon. It's like almost humans don't have any of their own fighting styles. Oh.
Alright, so who will take the initiative then?
I'll take initiative. I want to go in with a just like a large double-handed grasp, but it's actually a feint, and I'm going to twirl around into almost an Andorian judo and just flip her.
Okay, Shira. Well, actually, for both of you, would you like to spend any momentum before your daring and security roll?
I am going to use the Spear of Discovery to get myself 3 immediate momentum for myself and get 2 extra dice.
Spectacular. Shira, you do also have 1 floating momentum there if you want to tap it.
Hmm.
And I have CQC as a focus, by the way.
Gotcha.
CQC?
Close quarter
Close
combat.
quarters combat. Okay, right, yeah.
Hey, you want to do anything? Shira?
No.
No? Straight rolls? All right.
Just a straight roll.
Yeah.
It's all about learning.
Yeah.
At this point.
Shira's just
First
here to have
off-
fun. It's like, okay, she told the human captain told me not to not take it easy on her, so well, I'll give it a fair go and see how it
Yep.
goes, and then give us those rolls.
Won't do the full. Won't go full 100%, but just enough. See what happens.
It's like,
Yep.
oh, cute. She's using a Klingon stance, and roll it off there, if you will.
Yep. Hang on. First off, veteran. No. All right. Let's roll.
Yep.
Oh, nice.
Shira, your training does help you resist some of the initial assault. Indeed, you would have been perfectly ready to counter for the grab if that is what she'd been going for, but you are not prepared for either the speed or ferocity with which Sharp adjusts with the feint and goes in to flip you around. Let's go ahead, roll 1 more for the shove, specifically damage for unarmed strike, but this is once again only to evaluate whether Shira's knocked down.
2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2.
No, despite the unanticipated nature of the strike, Shira, you are able to recover, if only just barely. But you weren't knocked on your ass, but you probably had your bell rung a little bit, or you moved at G forces you weren't expecting to move.
You were tossed.
Putting on into Andorian moves.
Picked up here one thing or another. She kind of like rubs her nose with a thumb.
Where from?
I'm a Mako. I've learned from here and there.
I've been training Makos for the past few weeks, and none of them have done any Klingon or Andorian moves.
Well, they need to get out more. She smiles.
I won't disagree with you.
Shira and Sharp. Round 2.
The answer you were looking for is that's classified.
I should say now, with Sharp's 2 successes from earlier, we now have 3 momentum floating around for use.
I'll spend 1. Spend 1 for the 3rd die.
Gotcha. Shira, are you availing yourself of any momentum here?
Yeah, since she's having to step up a game against Sharp, she'll do so.
All right, so
spend a momentum for an extra dice.
Still
not going in the full hog though, because that would be adding threat.
Mm-hmm. So 1 momentum each, and with a 3d20 roll off, that's 1 more round of daring and security. This time with Shira taking the initiative.
Ooh, just the 2.
Yep. You recollect yourself,
0.
and Sharp, what were you trying to do for your defense, I suppose? Or better yet, Shira, what was your strategy going in?
Gonna try to sweep the leg. Just take her legs out from under her.
Gotcha. So, Sharp, maybe it's just a little bit. This could partly be that, she looked a little shaken and maybe you thought that you had already started winning on the psychological warfare. And maybe there's just the blood's pumping and everything's going, that touch of what youth does to one's sensibilities in fighting. But there's a slight bit of overconfidence as you're ready for a strike, and suddenly, wait, where'd Shira go? She ducks under you and manages to sweep at the leg. Whether you recover depends. Yeah, Shira, go ahead and roll me damage.
Yep. Okay.
And that's nothing but knockdowns, at least as far as the successes rolled there. So, yeah, Captain, she brings you down pretty quickly.
So wait, all the zeros are nothing but knockdown, or what?
No,
It's the staff track
sorry.
staffing
Okay.
symbols are
Yeah.
knockdowns.
It was mostly zeros, but the dice that did count for something were all knockdowns. So
Yeah, she tries to manage it, and she kind of does, but she still lands on her neck a little bit. But she rolls, rubs back her neck, and just laughs a little bit. Not bad at all.
Thank you, sir.
She pops her neck. One thing you will notice when she rolls is that on her shoulder blade through the something Romanov, who's off on the side, would notice is that since she's wearing a tank top, you could see on her right shoulder blade is a very intricate black ink tattoo that covers most of her right shoulder blade. It's some sort of bird of prey that's wrapped in a crown and bedecked in like other colorful jewelry of sorts.
And to be clear, animal, not the ship.
Yeah. Yeah. Animal, not a ship.
Is that a Romulan design? Not that I know what a Romulan is at this point.
The words on it say
Get the fuck
not
out,
a
you
Romulan.
Romulan. We already know you. You were saying?
Captain's a Romulan. Okay, the captain's a Romulan. Good.
Totally. Were you guys going to say something else?
Damn it, Craig. Now I've got to toss out my whole campaign plans and Peter's long-term character arc. Now we have to go with the backup.
Now I go back up. Yep. Different captain now.
Yep.
But no, Craig, is there any questions or anything like that? Or even Brian?
Oh, no, she's definitely watching all. She's getting a little water dispenser because she played soccer before she did this, so...
He didn't play soccer. Wink, wink. No soccer.
Tap of the
Especially not in front
nose.
of the captain.
She drops a towel over the soccer ball, subtly hitting the water, you know?
Yeah.
There's no cargo bay soccer teams going.
All right.
So
that was pretty good.
Does it look like an Earth design, or is it something more Klingon? Or...
I'm going to call for more insight and command, and I think for this one, I'm going to set the difficulty up to 3, I think, in order to identify it.
Okay.
Pretty fucking rare.
Let me see if I can hit that. Insight, I probably won't. Almost!
It is definitely not a recognizable Earth design, and certainly nothing Vulcan or most of any cultural group. While there maybe are recognizable notes of things, it's not it wouldn't be a design that you really think originates with anyone that you've worked with terribly often, Alaska.
That tells you a lot.
Yep. Definitely something a bit non-standard here, but yeah, I guess As you observe this, Sharp, Shira, do you want to go for one more round of the of melee combat here?
Yeah, she'll even say, one more round?
Us?
Match point? All right, she
That's good.
will get in a more Krav Maga defensive stance, bending down, both arms raised with fists, waiting for Shira to go on the offensive.
Shira will accept that invitation and go in to try and try to get the colonel into a bit of a head hold.
Repeating the grapple tactic. I see.
Yep. I'm going to try to counter with a headbutt to the nose.
Okay. That's going into a proper strike here. So let's see. First, the daring and security from both of you. There is one floating Actually, Shira earned back another 2 momentum, so there's 3 floating for the remainder of the scene. Does anybody want to use anything there or in the pool? I guess Shira, you will get the first dibs since you are taking initiative on this.
Yeah, I'll spend a momentum.
Okay. Spend one of the floating is spent in order to buy an additional die. Sharp.
Captain's prerogative. I'm going to take 2 of the remaining ones plus 1 of the real one to get 4 dice.
All right. So
As I want to further describe in that again, she's messing around. She goes from her Krav Maga, and then as soon as you get closer, she tries to sweep in with almost a Vulcan sort of dodge, but then feints that too and just goes in for a headbutt.
Okay. So let's see how this gambit plays out. Go ahead and roll off. Shira with 3 dice and Sharp with 4.
Let's go. Oh,
Shira
Nice.
with 3 successes. You quickly clear the distance. You've gathered that Sharp is a wily operator. Um, And so you are prepared to you prepare yourself to adjust through the first feint and respond for the second one, but the sudden final switch up of tactics catches you a little off guard as her head goes right in. At 5 successes, Sharp is going to connect, and that is going to be a strike rolled with unarmed damage, please.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 5 successes with the knockdown. Shira, you find yourself on the ground, not entirely sure how you got there, and probably a little concussed, or at least with a bit of blood congealed and blue seeping down from your nose.
Thank you, Colonel.
Are you all right? She offers a hand.
Yeah, other than the blood.
Yeah, we should probably take you to sick bay and see about that.
That's okay. I remember the way.
Let me take you.
So, with an outstretched hand, you guide your security chief up and make your way out of the workout area.
As she leaves, she kind of says, "And Romanov,
Yeah.
did you win?"
Yeah. We did well. Ops put up a good game now. We put the word out to security too.
Tell Crichton he owes me dinner. She says,
Okay.
Well,
or no, not Crichton. Who is our pilot?
that would be what's his face? Conley.
Conley. Yeah. Tell Conley he owes me a bottle. There we go.
With pleasure.
Yep. So along the way there, let's see. Sharp, you've already we might come back around to you in just a little bit.
Yeah.
I will say along the way, Patel does cross your paths and he says, I'm sorry, Captain, or Colonel. It seems like you two are busy here. Hello, Lieutenant.
Hi, sir.
I was just reporting I'll just leave you this pad. Basically, surveys are going well. We have a interesting experiment going on, just small requisition for power. One of my junior officers is preparing a neutrino capture device, something to test out a bit of equipment. I'll give you some time. He just kind of holds up a hand and walks off.
Hi, sir.
Thank you, Patel.
So as this is going on, we'll revisit you guys in a moment. But first, let's stop by the mess hall or very specifically, the officers' mess, since the doctor needed to see about the ingredients that were being used there. Alonso, if you would, this would be an activation for our Orion supporting character.
Yep. Let me find our good chef.
Yep.
Go ahead and continue.
All right, so that'll just for when you get the chance, that will either. I love how chef is in quotation marks there. For those watching on the stream or on the archive, here's the image for you. But yes, since this is an activation for Alonso, you do get to add a particular point, and that didn't actually display for you guys this time, so let me show that. And as we are coming into the scene, just a note, Panda, you do get to add, believe, a point in an attribute, discipline.
Yep.
You can
Add
give him
focus.
a value, a focus, or a talent as well.
Yep. I added bartending.
Spectacular. So, as you step into the scene, or rather, Doctor, you step into the mess hall, where it seems that it's a relatively sparse time. Crichton was probably in here catching a very quick sort of meal. The lunch rush has not started as of yet.
Right. Excuse me, chef. Before you get too busy,
Lunchtime is in an hour. I'm not gonna make it any sooner. I've already told numerous officers they can wait.
yeah, I'm not so interested in seeing the food as I am in seeing the menu.
There's the pause. It looks over with a firm glare. You get what you get. Why? Why do you want the menu for?
Well, you see, you know Crichton.
Uh-huh.
He was here in your mess hall earlier today.
Did he have an issue with the salad I gave him?
Yep. You mind letting me know what was in that salad?
Look.
And also if there's any other folks.
If he's coming here trying to get backed up, like, oh well, I suddenly got violently ill with salad. I made sure it was actually edible for humans. So if he has an issue with it, he can.
So do you know about things called allergens?
I know. Yes, of course I do.
Yeah, great. Well,
what do you think I am, a Telrite?
Yeah, well, he had an allergic reaction to the food you were supplying him. So I'm here to figure out what that was. What the allergic reaction was, and also maybe if there's been any other allergic reactions going on with other folks in the mess hall, and whether or not you've been, I don't know, sticking up to health and safety standards and all that.
He just folds his burly arms. Do you think I don't hold up a good kitchen for the boss?
Oh, I'm sure your kitchen's nice and clean, but I'm more concerned, health things. I mean, I got an absolute bollocking from the captain earlier about allergens, so
That's me out of character. Not
Technically
whatsoever.
true.
Yeah.
Love it.
Technically
So
true.
I'm kind of, I guess I'm being a bit of a stickler for these things now.
Look, this is why I don't break my rules. When people ask for a menu, I say they eat what they get and nothing further than that. But Crichton started yapping his mouth saying that he could tolerate anything. So I decided to give him a hearty salad because he felt that the salad was a bit bland. So I tried to impress. I gave him a monarch salad. Do you know what a monarch salad is? Probably not, but I might as well ask.
Yeah, that'll be a big old no for me.
A monarch salad is from a world called Beta Z. I don't know what that is. I'm pretty sure humans still
Yeah,
trying to understand that stuff.
I think the
But
world would properly be called Veldana at this point.
Veldana, yeah, it's called Veldana. It's a highly sought after, very exquisite and hearty salad that you usually share amongst family. Really a party of 4, but the royalty and Orions tend to enjoy it for themselves and anything else. Very embellished. It has. It is normal human lettuce. I try to make do with what I had. Bouillon cherry tomatoes, Uda berries, some sprinkled with some Riesian beans, and several hard-boiled Qatarn eggs,
Right. Okay.
and lightly dressed with Orion olive oil.
Okay, and I'm going to assume that all of these foodstuffs are what they sound like on the surface, and that like Orion olive oil isn't like slang for chili sauce or something like that.
He just gives you like a very that bouncer torp of sort of glare.
All right. Any? Well, yeah. Okay. I'll take a look at
Do you
that.
wanna look at the food? You can scan the food, whatever.
Um.
Just
Yeah.
come on.
Sure.
He just like doesn't let you finish. He just sort of starts storming toward the kitchen. Come on.
Yep. Oh. Okay. Right. Well.
Yeah, he'll show him all the ingredients.
Okay, those some ingredients. And would I be able to do some scanning things and figure out what might have caused the allergen by a combination of, I guess, scanning and just using my brain and associated allergen knowledge?
Well, we'll say that for our purposes here, um, you had taken a blood sample before coming over here for Mr. Crichton and analyzed it for the compounds there. Um, let's call this an insight and medicine roll, and we'll call this difficulty 3 here.
Right, insight and medicine. Difficulty 3. Right, what we got in the way of momentum?
We have 5. Actually 6 now because we overfilled.
Yep. The only thing that you lost was the floating momentum that didn't stay with you from the scene, or if there was anything back.
Alright, do you mind if I spend 3 of that momentum for 2 extra dice then?
Sure.
Go right ahead.
And
You can also
insight
use
and
determination
medicine.
too. But nope, you're roll.
That's 4.
Pretty awesome roll.
Okay. Let's see here. So, for those going with just the audio here, that is 4 successes, so that will earn back 1 momentum. Let's see, I think Shira still dropped like 2 of those down just for the amount of dice that was spent. So, It's a bit of a puzzler as you go over Alonso's cooking. Um, but you realize that out of everything you scanned here, there is a component in this meal that doesn't match everything from what you observed from Crichton's scans. It takes a few minutes to infer over this, but you realize Crichton's dish had something else slightly augmenting it.
Motherfucker.
There are signs of some sort of dressing packet.
Right.
It was the vinaigrette. Damn it.
You got some dressing stuff because you mentioned the Orion olive oil. You got any other dressings that he might have had with it?
No. And they shouldn't either. They get what they get. It is a masterpiece craft made by hand and selectively chosen.
You don't have any little sachets of like.
He just
or
glares at
packets
you
of
again.
dressing? I
The
take
fact-
it you're also going to glare at me if I suggest that maybe someone added something to his food.
He just grabs a bowl that he is busy working on and starts mixing fervently.
Angry
Well-
mixing.
Okay, I'm guessing that's my cue to leave.
If I was on any other ship, I would have full rights to shank him. Not you didn't hear. Don't tell the boss that. But just saying, like that is an insult to any chef.
Sorry, I'm a little thick sometimes. Who's doing the insulting, me or Crichton?
Crichton.
Right.
You don't.
Okay.
You
yeah,
you
can-
don't. You don't add to. You don't even suggest adding things to what a chef gives you.
Right. No, of course not.
It is
Yeah,
the work
no.
of art. A work of art. Do you know how long it takes me to create these things, create these masterpieces? Each of them selected 4 individuals. A lot.
5 minutes tops. Like a quick saute something within a frying pan or whatever.
Doctor,
Like
you are
crack
the
open
chief.
a packet or something.
You are
and-
the chief officer. Obviously, the boss likes you enough to make you as such. It's best if you go.
Like serious, you spend more than 5 minutes like on a person's meal. That seems excessive.
It's what the
Like-
boss wanted me to. The boss gave me a chef job. I do the chef job. I work to my best ability. Well,
All
wouldn't
right,
you?
well, you're nuts if you ask me. I'd just throw in a packet of
Do-
protein bars and a
Do you just
chili
slap a
sauce
band-aid
and-
on someone with a plasma burn and say, "There
Just
you
remember,
go"?
some microwave meals take 6 minutes to do.
I mean, I'd give him, I'd give him some drugs as well, but sometimes, yeah. I mean,
Do
if
you
all
just
you've got is a
kiss their-
band-aid,
Do you, or? But I'm sure you'd want to do more, right? Because you are the chief medical officer of the ship.
well, yeah, I guess. Well, yeah, I guess it's a thing. Maybe you take personal, professional pride in it.
Look, I don't know what it's like for
Yeah.
humans, but for Orions, when you're given a job, that you do your best goddamn job for it. For the men, anyways. The women kind of, you know what? I don't want to say about the women. Just you.
Yeah, I
You
feel
do
like
best.
this conversation is rapidly coming to its conclusion. So
Yes, it is. Get out of my kitchen.
been wonderful chatting with you. I'm going to stop
out of
insulting
my
you
kitchen.
and go insult someone else.
Get out of my fucking kitchen. He says. Just,
Yep.
I'm still good to be back here for lunch though, so I don't want to have to make alternate arrangements.
he just firmly, but he gingerly but firmly like grabs you by like the back of your collar, and then just lifts you up, takes you like 2 feet, and sets you back down into the dining area, and then closes the door.
See you later then. We'll
Um,
go back to find Carter, I guess.
You hear yelling from adding dressing to my salad. Really. Yeah, that's it.
Lambeth, on your way out, you do eye one of the dispensers for with dressing.
Ah, Okay, let's have a quick see if I can just pick up the dispenser, like look at the back and check the ingredients list.
I think it's built into the wall properly, so it
Oh,
might
okay.
involve
Yeah.
popping out a panel. Just for the fun of it, give me let's call this a control and engineering roll. I'll only set the difficulty to 1 for you, but I might spend a threat to increase the complication range by 1.
Okay, so
I am here for the
control and
hundreds.
engineering.
Mhm.
So he's a doctor. He's good at control, not at all good at engineering. So
But you still score 2
that's
successes,
2.
so you managed to jimmy open the panel, and you actually find that there appears to have been a short that has caused some damage to this. There's also a very little bit of a rank smell coming from the dispenser. It seems like a capsule that is essentially used to help produce it may have spoiled, essentially. And it's especially bad because it was meant for ranch dressing, basically, which, among other things, tells you that Crichton has very trash sensibilities in salad dressing.
Yeah,
Alonso must never know.
yeah, it'll be our little secret, I guess.
Yeah.
All right, well, make a note of that and go back and see Crichton and give him a stern talking to, I guess.
Yep. As you do, the smell begins to waft around, and Chief
Good.
Fernier, who is coming off from apparently an extensive workout, he's worked up a bit of a sweat. He just sniffs the air. Oh, oh my God! Oh God! Oh, God damn it! I gotta get a maintenance crew in here right away. Probably a biohazard team. Oh,
Yeah, this I just found it like this, and right. Anyway, I'm needed in the medical bay, so
no. Smash cut to sickbay, where we join you lecturing Crichton. His hands are much less puffy. His eyes are still a little, eyes and cheeks are still a little bit out, but he's definitely much improved from earlier.
yeah, right. So if you're gonna, I hope you've learned this as a lesson about taking notice of allergens and checking the ingredients list on things and not pissing off the chef by adding dressing to his carefully prepared meals, because I'm not sure he's gonna let you eat there again. Or if he is, he's gonna. I mean, I talked to him, and he's not nice when you make him angry. Um, yeah, you're at best he's going to be very passive aggressive. So just watch out with that. Anyway,
Ooh.
you should be good. You look like you'll be fine for work when it's your shift.
Oh, oh, good. I'm sorry. I don't want to make the chef angry. I don't think I'd like him when he's angry. Um, but yes,
He gets all big and green, yeah.
that's his usual mode, as I come to understand it.
Oh well, he must always be angry then.
That's a secret, Doctor. He's always angry. Oh, great. Anyway, well, yes, I'm. On the plus side, I think I can skip lunch today. I'm, I'm not terribly hungry. Though, you don't happen to have a protein bar around you for later?
He pulls one out of his back pocket. I've got like a whole. I've got nearly a box full back in my room, so you can have mine.
Oh, you are a
Just
lifesaver, Doctor. I mean,
that's the job.
Yes. You usually do that. I don't want to insult you either. I don't. Look. I just want to.
You're all good. My ego's not so easily bruised.
Okay, good. Because I want to eat and I want to be able to have medical treatment. Basic needs.
Yeah.
Oh, good. With that, he'll graciously accept the protein bar. Crichton will hop off the bed and make his way out of sickbay. Off to my shift. Thank you, Doc.
Yeah. See you later.
Oh.
I mean, hopefully not too soon, but
Yep. Crichton's like, oh, yeah, and does like a finger guns type thing on his way out of the room. There's no good social grace at this point, or anyone around in the sick bay is just left with the slight scenes. The irony of a doctor's bedside manner and a communications officer just fumbling everything.
hmm.
But yeah, with that, you are at least certain that most emergencies are settled for now, Doc. Um, so we'll circle back around. I'm actually just because of where we are in time. I want to go very slightly out of order. Saral, was there anyone else that you wanted to interact with here?
Oof, I don't think so.
Okay. Well, I will say that amidst the day, you do at least get a visit from Patel. We don't necessarily have to make a full scene out of this, but he does invite you when you have some free time, or should you want to rotate, he would be more than happy to show you the ropes with the sciences, or rather the science facilities, in case you have any interest of testing out your hand there.
Yeah, sure. Um,
You know, not not necessarily a full scene, but I thought I would do.
yeah, I don't have anything to that I want to do at the moment, really.
Yeah. Okay. Well, moving elsewhere around the ship. I guess again going slightly out of order. Romanov, let's get back in touch with you. Was there anyone else that you wanted to speak with at this time?
Oh yeah. She wants to meet up with the science officer from the away mission.
Oh, Stewart.
Steward.
Stewart. Yep. I guess I get to play a lot today. All right. She is busy working through just going through. She's in her research station. It's just like a barely big enough for an alcove. As she's just working through all the Terra Nova data.
How are you doing?
Oh, hi. I'm doing fine, sir. How can I help you?
Well,
Lieutenant
you
Commander.
did pretty well with the away mission, but I was gonna come by with a suggestion.
Give me 1 second. She says this. She just quickly just tries to make sure that she's at a stopping point, and it only takes like 10 seconds. She spins around. Sure. How? It was a pretty extra sort of mission, unexpected. I didn't expect to go into combat or have a near brinkmanship, but is that expected to happen with Starfleet?
Yeah, that's why I was gonna suggest you might want to request some security training.
I thought we were doing mostly exploration, though.
You never know when a situation can go in another direction, and that training could potentially save your life or the lives of others.
I suppose we have Makos and ship security for those sort of things.
True, but you never know when you're in a situation where one of those people isn't there. I just recommend doing, put in a request for cross training in security and, make sure you know how to use a phaser and you're comfortable in a crisis situation. Of course, it's not what Starfleet wants to do, but those situations do come up as they did.
I, I, if you want me to, sir, certainly it's not a bad idea, I guess.
Yeah, it's not a rush item for you, but that was the perfect example of a situation where it went in a lot of different directions that people didn't expect, and one of those was possible conflict. And it's not an order. You're not under my direct chain of command. I'm just putting it to you as a suggestion.
All right. I will figure out how to requisition such time, and I guess go through the ratings. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is
How's the
there?
race going?
Terrific. Actually, I got to have more personal experience to actually see within the cave system of the subterranean system of Terra Nova itself, and understand that certainly they seem to have more angling towards certain uh, underground streams, but only particular ones. I'm thinking generally it's within a certain amount of distance within the ground versus to the amount of water availability, and she just goes on. um,
Was it natural, or do you think it was constructed?
oh no, it's certainly natural. There was some signs of modification to some of the subterranean waterways to better facilitate habitation, but it seems more traditionally that they would prefer, if anything, at least probably from just experience and desperate necessity, to actually follow the natural ways or waterways when they can. Usually around a more available watering hole or um, uh, shorter distance between the soil and the waterway itself, allowing for seepage and other such things. Which, by the way, actually makes a very good filter for any sort of microbes or any other sort of things. After a while, it does taste a little awful, but if anything, it's rather healthy, and if not, it basically assures a sort of subterranean vegetation that they can actually live on, as opposed to relying on the surface vegetation itself.
Nice.
It's pretty interesting.
Hey, there's one other thing. In my previous assignment, I encountered an alien artifact. There may be a chance to counter that again. I know some of the creators who I have it. If I can get a hold of some scans, I'd like you to take a look at it.
Sure. I'm mostly for xenoanthropology, not archaeology,
Well,
but
that's
I
why I want
can.
you to look at it. I'm interested in trying to figure out who made it, and that would be a xenoanthropology type thing.
Well, that would be more xenoanthropology, xenoarchaeology, and paleontology. But I certainly can give a look at it. I did dabble a little bit as in sort of on a few courses, but so certainly I can have a good look.
Sounds good. That was it. I just wanted to run this thing by you. Suggestion.
Is that artifact here on the ship? I wasn't aware that we picked up any sort of artifacts.
No, GM, you had mentioned that I was aware that it might be out there, and I have an idea where it might be located.
There was something that might have ties to it related to an Ithanite freighter you had been hoping to catch before you left Alpha Centauri, but they were impounded before you had a chance to do anything, and the Aegis was forced to leave port.
Yeah, I'll just tell you, there was an Ithanite freighter. Should we encounter it again, I'm going to try to make sure I get a scan of it. So.
All right. Certainly, you give me any sort of scans or whatever material you can find, I can look into it.
Absolutely. And hey, do you play soccer? Science. Soccer. I'm
more of a track and field sort of gal. She smiles. I don't do football.
Okay, well, that was it. Just thought I'd come by with that suggestion, and if the Ithacan freighter popped up again, then, perhaps I'd have you help me take a look at it. the artifact.
Sure. She smiles.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
And she'll head out. She was still in a t-shirt that says it, carrying a soccer.
Yeah.
And the only other thing she'd do is just check on. She figures Shira knows how to
Yeah,
spar.
yeah. It's it was probably just a few minutes after like roughly concurrently with this, since you probably had a little further to walk. Shira and Colonel Sharp made it in just as the doctor was sending off Mr. Crichton and treating the possible mild concussion that she suffered and the broken nose. Everything moving along quite nicely, and the Colonel was probably off by the time that you made it there, Romanov. But yeah, thankfully these types of trauma-related injuries are things that the doctor has proven himself more than capable with. You could probably do it in your sleep, frankly, Dr. Lambeth, so everything will be settled there.
That's the final scene. Other than she's going to pick up a second helping of that monarch salad, but so damn good, and leave her compliments to the chef.
Yep.
Finally, somebody appreciates.
So, Colonel, I imagine after a shower and a change, you do make your way eventually back up to the ready room.
Yep.
Yeah, everything seems to be moving at pace. Departments are reporting in, and everything's been moving fairly smoothly. You were hoping for a scheduled call from someone at least, but alas, nothing has come yet, and you're just left alone with your thoughts for a moment.
She'll just take a deep breath, try to nurse what little adrenaline's left. Kind of look at the screen as if it's waiting for that call, but if she isn't going to call now, she's probably not going to call.
There is a chime from your terminal, something like a comm from the bridge, a comm signal from the bridge.
She'll take a sigh and tab it. Yes?
Colonel, this is I'm receiving, I think, some sort of distress call. It's a signal that we're relaying from from an Earth freighter. Shall I put it through to here?
What's the distance of the freighter?
I put them at best guess 3.8 light years from us from our position, sir. They're just a little outside of the range of relays, but let me put through a bit of the audio here. It garbles for a moment, and there's still a slight grain of static to this. This is Captain Randall Byers of the ECS Caravel requesting relay to any Earth authorities. I repeat, this is Captain Randall Byers of the Earth Cargo Service ship Caravel requesting relay to any Earth authority.
She'll signal to Crichton. Set a condition yellow, and some in the bridge, or some in general quarters in general. I'll be right there.
Oh, yes, sir, yes, sir. Finally getting down the protocol. It's still more properly action stations, I believe.
I prefer general quarters from the old traditions, Crichton.
Oh, fair enough. We will go to condition yellow. Oh, and did you say you were taking the signal from the bridge, or?
Yeah, I'll take a signal to the bridge.
Okay.
She was kind of hoping it was a side gig from her, but it wasn't. Okay.
Yep.
And
let me move what's his face off the screen, because there are absolutely no Tandarans now. We're not dealing with them. Okay. Um,
Who's
I
left that Tandaran screensaver on the view screen?
I'm afraid I only have an audio signal, sir. Crichton says.
One of the many Suliban we now have on board.
So who's coming to the bridge?
I imagine at this point Shira would be on her way up and in proper uniform wear. Enough time has passed. Does anyone else want to be on the bridge?
Yeah, I'll head up there too.
Okay. I will say Patel has a relief science officer currently in place while he is supervising the lab, getting it down to be spun.
That's fine.
But yeah.
I also she'll look at Crichton. Crichton, if you can summon Sorrel up here too.
Will do. Mr. Sorrel to the bridge.
Be right there.
All right. So, a few minutes pass, and the group of you make it onto the to the bridge. Romanov, I'll go ahead and put you by like the damage control console.
Yeah, exactly.
I have Captain Byers at the ready, Colonel.
She'll just gesture.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is Captain Randall Byers. To any Earth authority in range, please respond.
This is Colonel Lillian Sharp of the SS Aegis. How can we help you, sir?
Oh, Colonel, thank God, I'm so glad to hear you. Our subspace radio's been on the fritz, and I didn't think we were going to reach a friendly voice. I need assistance. My ship has been unlawfully impounded, and my crew is being held captive. You've got to help us.
Starling, give us your coordinates, and we will make our way there.
Sending coordinates. It's an alien station built into an asteroid. It's some sort of dilithium mining operation and trade hub.
Have you recognized the alien race itself, or the?
Oh, there's a bunch of them here. Some sort of joint operation. The station itself seems to be owned by the Nausicaans. That the others, I mean, there's some other settlements here that, or like other people operating on the station. A few of the Kafraians, those insect types. I don't recognize the others. They're kind of a short, squat bunch. I think they go by the Jogus, or it's the Jogus Corporation or something. But I'm kind of a little bit of fuzz in the face, if you will, or facial hair. I don't know. They're not a pleasant bunch.
No, I don't imagine so. Is the rest are you and the rest of the crew all right?
We're unharmed at present, but there's something else going on here. Some sort of illness has broken out since we've been here, and I don't know what's going on. The corporate types don't seem to have much of a good handle on this. There's conflicting authorities. The only thing that they agree on is that they want us to stick around here.
Hold one, Captain. And she'll just gesture with her throat toward Crichton. And is Sorrel here?
He is.
She'll go to Sorrel. Any knowledge of this place?
Do I know of this place?
Give me
an description, really.
Insight and command. And we'll call this difficulty of 2. There is still momentum on the table if you wish to spend any.
Yeah, we'll definitely spend momentum for a third die. And I don't think any of my focuses would apply.
All right. So, with 3 successes, you do gain back 1 momentum, so the pool is unaffected. and I'm going to send you a couple things in the Roll20 chat that Saral would specifically know. It's like obviously there's not a lot that you wouldn't necessarily know things about all of the every specific little hidey hole in the sector, but you have a decent idea of a few things. And let's send that along.
Zerata's like buffers in his eyes while the information is loading.
Yep. So those are at least, well, that had been meant just for that. I'm going to go ahead and just... Well, it's in the chat now.
Yep.
I relay this information.
Oh.
Yes, the Sagas Corporation is a Tellarite thing. I don't know this specific one, but they do all kinds of business. The Nausicaans are well known for their asteroid bases, but they are mostly the very illegal type. So this seems like an odd team up.
No.
She nods.
Conley also looks over the navigational coordinates. Colonel, I think I should say this does take us into what could be Tellarite space, or at least what's conjectured.
She'll nod. Crichton sent a message back to Starfleet Command that we are following a distress signal within the ask for help, and by common cause, I am pushing into Tellarite space before any sort of invite.
Yes, sir. I will send your message shortly.
She'll look over to Romanov. Romanov, what speeds can we manage right now?
What speeds can we manage?
Well, you've probably got a full range of capabilities right now.
We've got a full range of capabilities at the we haven't increased any capability yet. We're still studying that.
Certainly, but given the nebula's turbulence, supposedly, is there any restrictions we have to be aware of?
Do you want me to make a roll on that?
There's nothing really that you would know necessarily about this. You don't know enough about the area to say for certain.
Could I make like a sensor roll? Just have a look at the sensor data that's coming in.
Yeah.
If anything jumps at me.
Reason and science.
Yeah, I'll look over at the captain. I don't have enough data to call it.
The difficulty is, wouldn't you like to know?
Oh, fair enough. And I'm gonna buy another die.
Okay.
And you know what? Since I haven't used it yet, I'm gonna use bold science. And can I buy one more die for one threat? Is that how it works?
You can
I will
also use
accept that.
determination. You can also use determination. You haven't used it.
It's cheap.
So
I'll
all
take
the
it.
things.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
The subspace properties of this region are such that, well, it's very hard to say exactly what would happen, but you do wonder if higher warp is necessarily prudent in this section of space.
Because it might interfere with the...
There are subspace properties in effect that might have some, like... One, you don't. This isn't a region that you know generally that Vulcans have traveled through this region, but that due to the subspace turbulence, they generally maintain lower speeds, like closer to
What?
warp 2, or they just bypass it altogether.
Okay. Yeah. There is nothing inherently dangerous in this region, but general safety concerns would advise to stick to warp 2. Don't go above.
Very well, I'll take your advice. Conley, warp 2. Notify, she'll look over the Crichton, notify the captain that we are on our way.
Ugh. Well, warp 2, we're not going to get there particularly quickly, Captain.
Mm,
Sorry,
Is there a way around these
they're kind of...
subspace anomalies? Like, can we compensate for them?
The abyssal is a very broad field, so you are definitely going to... it would take some time at impulse to navigate out and go around, and at impulse you would actually be going the opposite direction for a time.
all right, I'm gonna risk it. She says,
Maybe there'll be maybe there's some way to do something to ensure the warp field is better.
Yeah, is there a way
Aerospace
to
with a kind of long task next game or something.
You know, I'm willing to give you a single roll right now in order to have that create that effect. Go ahead and
Okay.
let's call this a control and engineering roll. Just to clarify from earlier, on that previous success, did you expend your determination there for an auto crit?
No.
Okay. Well, to be as
Um
relatively absolutely certain as you could, pondering here. Let's see here. Let's go ahead. We could make this just. Let's start off with a control and engineering roll, difficulty of 3, and I am going to spend a point of threat in order to modulate the or in order to increase the determination. Or determination. Blah. I'm going to spend it to increase the complication range by 1.
fantastic. Who wants to do the engineering role?
I'll do the engineering role. This would be warp field dynamics. Would that apply as a focus?
It would, and it would be assisted by the ship.
Okay,
I can also assist.
please do.
Alright.
Is this control and engineering or reason and engineering?
I will say control and engineering, and I'm going to say the complications increase is across the board.
Okay. Okay, then do you guys want me to spend a moment?
Yeah, absolutely.
You may as well buy it all.
Yeah. Okay, so how many dice would I get for that then?
With
2.
the 3 momentum left there, that should be. Oh well, wait. I mean, Saral on that one. You know, actually, that was just enough to answer the question there. So, you could, with the 3 momentum you have left, you can purchase 2 additional dice.
Okay, let me set that up then. And
Nice.
Okay, yeah, so you're pretty certain here.
Oof, it's an 18.
Yes, it is. And I am dumping all of my threat. You want to roll for the ship too? I'll tell you what, I will get the ship roll done for you guys.
Ooh.
And
Stupid ship.
yeah. Well, I think that
Bloody Aegis.
with the full dumping of threat, I will describe to you exactly I've done. First off, you get 3 momentum back. I am pushing back the complication range even further, taking that at increased cost, by the way, because it's retroactive. But I am using my remaining 3 threat to essentially turn Soral's 0 into a complication as well.
What have I done to you?
Um,
What have I done to you?
So many things.
yes. See last campaign. Anyway.
Listen here.
Yep.
I didn't swear a blood oath.
You did not. Anyway, Sharp, do you want to pick up with a small bit of a supplemental log before we close this out here?
Yeah. Captain's log supplemental. The Aegis has received a stress call from the ECS Caravel, an Earth freighter being held at an alien spaceship or alien space station, with little information on this
Jogus.
Jogus corporation, and a volatile situation with Nausicaans. We're walking into a very slippery situation.
And with that, with the brief recording of a log, Crichton, handling his earpiece, looks to the side for a moment. I have confirmation from the Caravel. They are acknowledging our reply and will await for us to be there. Connolly turns to Captain and says, "All right, course is set. Warp at your command."
Hit it.
All right. He grabs the throttle, ushers it forward to set to warp 2. Ahead of you, the stars begin to tremble and shake as that usual effect appears, and in what would normally happen, they would stream forward as there's a great flash of multiple colors, and the warp field takes hold. The star is taking ahead of you. This is not what happens. Instead, the space shakes more and more turbulently. Cracks begin to form seemingly along the screen. At first, you're concerned that it's the visual display itself, but you realize that this is not the case, for it does not wind up reaching. But when the final leap to warp is initiated, there is a flash, and all of you feel yourselves being sent forward, like into consoles or the walls, and the lights cut out. And that is where we conclude today's session.
Oh damn it! I just got my nose fixed.
Guess what you smash in the console?
So, yeah, for that is it for today's session, everyone. So thank you for joining us. For those on the archive, we are going to leave off here for this week, and we will return next Saturday at our usual 1 p.m. time. If you can catch us live, then feel free to find us at twitch.tv/GM in the Great Barrier. Otherwise, we will see you around later, and I hope you enjoy the episode. Leave a like, a comment, to let us know how we're doing. But I'm going to go ahead and close this off now.